Royal Communications Incorporated. Good morning and welcome to Keys. Following this morning, all ruling parties Congress for Democratic Youth wants against police brutality in solidarity and trust for liberty. Also, we thank the life saving enough is enough protest. CDC National Chairman Anthony Ghana expresses another confidence in the Liberian National Police call for immediate dismissal of police Inspector General Gregory Coleman. On that military budget and health one says there will be a time that things will get very difficult in Nigeria. Element challenge as he acknowledges the inflation. Thus, the Nigerian citizens criticize Ministry of Health and Health Services and public health facilities across the country is kept with at least 94 Nigerians healthcare services away from Nigeria. The United States has deported 5 people who described as criminal alien captives to the southern African of Eswatini. Republicans in the U.S. Senate have said they will support the U.S. MAP HIV program for five because at least a larger effort to reduce costs than these plus use policy of international partners and all parties. Joining us at this junction, join Sam Andrews, policy.
Former ruling party Congress for Democratic Change has issued a stern warning to Unity Party-led government to avoid brutalizing Liberians intending to gather for the July 17th peaceful protest. The lead opposition party also called for the immediate dismissal of Liberia National Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman for his alleged incompetence, adding that the recent alarming transformation of the Liberia Police into a force known for public nuisance under the pretense of training for July 17 raises serious concern. Following the release of an official press statement about the July 17 protest, Congress for Democratic Change National Chairman Anthony at Lord Jangako in an interview with King's FM said the arbitrary abduction of individuals believed to be members of the protest undermines the legitimacy of the permit granted. The Congress for Democratic Change in a statement strongly expressed that any endeavor to suppress the citizens' right to assemble will be an affront to the country and will be recorded as a profound betrayal, adding that it is the right of Liberians to gather, express, and peacefully assemble as guaranteed under the Constitution. Anthony at Lord Jangakowo expressed lack of confidence in the Liberia National Police, accusing the force of being very brutal against Liberians over the period, challenging the challenging it to show respect for the rule of law, transcend partisan interest, and embrace true sportsmanship, foster true and genuine reconciliation, and uphold the Constitution in the interest of sustaining peace and stability in Liberia. Meanwhile, the Congress of Democratic Change says it stands resolutely with every Liberian who plans to march, speak, and demand justice on July 17th and beyond, indicating Liberian voices will resonate unconfined. Their marches will proceed unhindered. The streets belong not just to the government, but the people and the republic. The CDC national chairman dispelled rumors of party organizing the protest, emphasizing that CDC will never hide behind any civil society group if it wants to protest. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Kwon has acknowledged Liberia's tense economic challenges, adding that the country could likely experience tougher challenges due to inflation and other factors. The finance minister, who appeared on state radio Wednesday, noted that the country's tense economic challenges are as the result of using aid cuts, stating that although the government strives to stabilize it, the aid cut usually affected the first quarter of 2025. Minister Gafan firmly disclosed that there will be time the Liberian economy will face both turbulent period due to what we call buffeted challenges confronting the government. There are reports of check bouncing, months of delayed salary payment due to lack of money in government consolidated account to underwrite workers' salaries, something the finance minister did not provide clear information about. At the same time, the finance minister has issued a stern warning to former finance and development planning minister Samuel Tuer over what he terms smear campaign against him regarding the COVID-19 relief fund provided by the World Food Program. Minister Gafwan challenged Minister Tuer to produce documentary evidence linking him to the alleged misappropriation of COVID-19 relief fund provided by the World Food Program. According to Augustin Gafwan, the fund was legally transferred to the government's consolidated account to support the national food feeding, adding that the funds was not diverted for personal use as claimed by others. Dozens of Liberians in different parts of the country have expressed strong rejection of the Ministry of Health proposed service fees at public facilities. Recently, the Ministry of Health announced the government proposed policy which required payment for services at public health centers across Liberia. The government's proposal, titled Community Revolving Drug Fund and Cost Sharing, require patients, including old folks and babies, to pay fees for medical services provided at government-run health centers. Services expected to be affected by the policy are registration, hospitalization, feeding, death and birth certificates, and medical tests, amongst others. Liberians who expressed opposition to the new policy described it as unfair, pointing out severe economic challenges citizens are faced with, adding that the new fees at government-run facilities is meant to deny poor Liberians healthcare service. Majority of Liberians, precisely those residing in rural slums in underdeveloped areas, lack adequate means to afford medical costs and other social services due to high unemployment rate. The Liberian government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has announced plans to construct 8 agriculture mechanization centers across the country as part of efforts to boost the agriculture sector. The mechanization center focuses on providing farmers with access to machinery and related services to improve agriculture productivity. Making the disclosure in Tottenberg, Bowman County during the celebration of International Cooperative Day, Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture, David Akwe, said 5 counties have been selected to initially benefit from the construction of the mechanization center. He named Lofa, Nema, Bong, Magibi, and Maserati counties as selected counties. Mr. Akwe explained that each county will be equipped with various types of agricultural machinery, including tractors and other essential farming implements, adding that the tools are intended to ease the workload of local farmers and improve productivity. According to David Akoye, the mechanization centers are designed to support farmers who are organized in cooperatives to encourage collaboration and expansion in agriculture activities. The Women's League of the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change has officially endorsed the much publicized July 17th Enough is Enough protest. According to CDC Women's League, the endorsement aims to draw the government's attention to the pressing national issues, including allegations of bad governance, police brutality, and misuse of public resources. Reading the petition statement on Wednesday in Montserrat District 16, the acting chairperson of CDC Women's League, Sarah Mususoji, described the upcoming protest as an opportunity to restore hope and democratic values in Liberia. Soja, Soji accused the administration of President Walker of engaging in dictatorial practices, worsening economic crisis, fostering insecurity, and systematically violating the country's constitution. She emphasized that it is time for President Walker to either lead the country democratically or step down, thus calling on citizens, particularly women groups, to join the protest and stand up for their rights. For his part, stand chairman and lead campaigner of the protest, Molba Molo, commended the Congress of Democratic Change Women's League for joining forces with other civil society organizations and Liberians to support today's protest. He reaffirmed the protest organizers' commitment to conducting the event peacefully and urged state security forces to ensure the protection of Liberians. At the same time, political analyst and general manager of King's 88.5, Anthony at Law Ibrahim Godson William, has formally endorsed the July 17 protest organized by Solidarity and Trust for New Day. In a statement posted on his Facebook page, the top Liberian journalist described the protest as a genuine expression of public frustration over national issues. According to him, contrary to the 2019 June 7 protest, which he said was politically motivated and led by politicians, the July 17 protest is organized by ordinary citizens and civil society organizations seeking seeking reform in Liberia's governance and economic system. Anthony at Law Ibrahim Godson Wayne clarified that the protest is not intended to promote any individual or group to political prominence, but rather to uphold the government, to hold the government accountable for its promises made to the people. He stated that the protest purpose is to compel the government to address long-standing concerns, including poverty, unemployment, corruption, and lack of basic social services. The House of Representatives has ratified the protocol on the establishment of the African Court of Justice and Human Rights. House Speaker Richard Combs disclosed that the instrument has been forwarded to the Liberian Senate for concurrence and subsequent approval by the President. Speaker Combs made the disclosure at the opening of a one-day dialogue on state and non-state actors on the promotion of the ratification of the protocol of the African Court on Human and People's Rights in Monrovia Wednesday. Remarking during the program, the chairman of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, Councillor Dempster Brown, reaffirmed the Commission's commitment in the defense of human rights at a national and intercontinental levels. He encouraged the Senate to concur with the House of Representatives in the ratification of the protocol on the African Court on Human and People's Rights. The dialogue, which was organized by the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, brought together human rights activists, representatives of civil society organizations, members of the judiciary, among others. A group under the banner Liberia Independent Elder Council of Peace and Reconciliation has called on organizers of There Will Be participants of today, July 17 protest, to uphold the principles of democracy by balancing their right to free expression with a sense of national responsibility. Speaking to journalists on Tuesday in Painesville, the Council Secretary General, Edwin Bogbal, acknowledged the constitutional right of Liberians to protest, but urged the protesters to ensure that their actions do not infringe on the rights and freedom of others. He emphasized the importance of maintaining peace and civility during today's demonstration or protest. Mr. Gbagbo noted that Liberia has made significant progress since the end of its 14-year civil conflict and stressed that Liberia's future must be shaped through dialogue, not division. He added that any act of aggression or violence during today's protest will undermine its legitimacy and could jeopardize the fragile peace the country enjoys. And a two-day lesson learned session on the 2025 Lima County senatorial by-election has kicked off in Ganta, Lima County. The session, which is organized by the Monitoring and Evaluation Section, is intended to analyze successes and challenges, as well as gathering experiences from key sessions that were actively involved with the by-election. At the opening of the event Wednesday, the chairperson of the National Election, co-chairperson of the National Election Commission, Reese, admonished the staff to work together for the smooth operations of the commission. The session, which was sponsored by the National Elections Commission, is being attended by commissioners, deputy executive directors, and deputies, as well as both magistrates and assistants from Lima County.
This first license to 25 we follow this morning. Former ruling party Congress for Democratic Change wants against police brutality in the solidarity and trust. For a new deal must publicize July 17 enough is enough pictures. CDC National Chairman Anthony General to express his lack of confidence in the Nigerian National Police calls for immediate dismissal of police inspected aggressive finance and development planning minister Dustin Duffman says there will be a time that things will get very difficult in Liberia due to huge economic challenges as he acknowledges inflation. Dozens of Liberians criticized the issue of health in announced service fees as public health facilities across the country describe it as a means of denying poor Liberians healthcare services. And away from Liberia, the United States has reported 5 people who it described as criminal illegal aliens in the Southern African kingdom of Eswatini. Republicans in the U.S. Senate have said they will spread the U.S. backed HIV programs as far because amid a larger effort to use government, which was used for international countries and also the human rights of and also now first development this morning, the former ruling party, Congress for Democratic Change, has issued a strong warning to the Unity Party led government to reward brutalized Liberians, intended to gather for the July 17 peaceful protest. The main opposition party also called for the immediate dismissal of the Liberian National Police Inspector General, 2017 raises serious concerns. Following the release of an official press statement about the July 17 protest, CEC National Chairman Anthony Jangaku, in an interview with King's FM Riyadh Global Film, said the arbitrary abduction of individuals believed to be members of the protest undermines the legitimacy of the permit granted for the citizens.
So this statement is intended to call the extension of the Unity Party government of President Wakai to show that Liberians will be coming out tomorrow to exercise their democratic constitutional right to peaceful protest, peaceful assembly is respected. Respect the government for the right of all Liberians, including physicians, who have decided to rally and assemble tomorrow to protest against various acts of the government is their right, and we expect the government of Liberia to show, the Liberian National Police to show that these Liberians are fully protected, their rights are respected.
Do you have any confidence in terms of the Liberian National Police doing what is right?
So we do not have confidence in the National Police. The Liberian National Police have been very brutal, and tomorrow is another step to the government and to the Liberian National Police, because Liberian people have the right to assemble. So tomorrow, when Liberian people assemble, put us in line with the Constitution, Article 17, we expect the government of Liberia, the Liberian National Police, and the National Security Apparatus to install these Liberian all the necessary protection under the law. All of the transgressions, all the wrong things happening across the government, you see the harsh harassment, people citizens, you see the way something or former officials, you see people are still in jobs. How we here of my hand were accepted by the police. All of these things have made Liberians to say, oh, they are established tomorrow to show the government that they must have an obligation to respect the rule of law. So we defend and protect the rights of those Liberians who will be assembling tomorrow. And we expect the government to show that these Liberians are accorded the highest level of protection as required by the Constitution.
The party is calling on the government to ensure that the rights of protesters are respected on tomorrow. Is there any call, from the party to the protesters as well in terms of conducting themselves?
Indeed, if you read the release, it is very clear. All Liberians will be assembling tomorrow to do so within the confines of the law, like they have always done. The Liberian people are not violent people.
Congress for Democratic in its statement strongly expressed an endeavor to suppress the citizens' rights to assemble is an affront to the Republic and be recorded as profoundly clear, adding that it is the right of every Liberian to gather, express, and peacefully assemble, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. The court center expressed lack of confidence in the Liberian National Police, due to the police inspector general of youth of being brutal against citizens over the period, further challenging them to show respect for the rule of law, transcend partisan interests, and embrace true statesmanship, foster true and genuine reconciliation, and to uphold the Constitution in the interest of sustaining peace and stability with the land.
We have got zero fear. If we are organizing a protest, will be very clear. And got no fear. Because as a political party, we do have the constitutional right to do so. Windstorm protest of 2019 was fully supported by the Unity Party and all the opposition then.
Mm.
So we have nothing to fear as a political party. So the speech is not anything else or anything. It's the right of stand. It is the right of all those who are organized organize the protest. It's the right of all Liberians, including members of the CDC, to attend our protest. So we are calling the government to respect our right. And we, as a political party, as a national political party, the largest opposition, will defend the right of citizens who are something to grow to protest against the government and the many wrongful actions in the country. So we are not having been saying this is not a protest that have been organized as we know. To the contrary, the protest have been organized by 10 and other civil society organizations and other you being a women leader of political parties, and you want to call the government to respect that. There the CC is organizing taking protests that the announcement will be made. We call on remember why I submit the way tomorrow is your right to do so in a peaceful manner, in a non-violent manner. We call on the police. These are not people of foreign countries. You are marching, making hold of the comment, making threats against them. So we already see premeditation in the police. On the first round, the government want to caution the Inspector General. I want to be really calling for his removal because he has demonstrated his competence to lead the Liberian National Police. So we want to say the Liberian people have got the right to assemble tomorrow and they are doing so. We fully defend that right. We show them and to protect that right. And we call on the government to ensure that they are protected. We call on all Liberians have no fear. But the arms are in the hands of the police. Those arms are intended to protect you, not to harm you. So tomorrow we'll all be looking at on ECOWAS, on the United Nations, on the U.S. government, we call on all international actors.
He is CDC National Chairman Janga Code speaking. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gavon has acknowledged Nigeria's tense economic challenges, adding that the country could likely experience tougher challenges due to the inflation and other factors. The finance minister, who appeared on State Radio Wednesday, noted that the country's tense economic challenges are as a result of USAID aid cut, stating that although the government strived to stabilize it, the aid cut hugely affected the first quarter of 2025. Minister Augustine Gavon disclosed that there will be time that the Liberian economy face more turbulence due to what he called unforeseen challenges confronting the government.
Because when we are looking at things, we're looking at things generally. We know that people are being left behind. Our duty is to work with and nail to make sure that those that are left behind are accommodated. So by and large, we've been buffeted with some challenges, and people expect it, especially in the first half of the year, the first quarter. We heard about some of the turbulence that came because of huge import withdrawals. There were people who predicted an apocalyptic scenario. We've kept the economy going, and that we are hitting targets. So generally, what I promise the Liberian people is that there will be times that things will get temporarily difficult. Like when you're in a plane going to a destination, no pilot tells you that there will be no trouble. A good pilot will tell you that tightening the seatbelt at this point, but they will definitely navigate the plane, pilot the plane to destination. That's what is happening. There are a lot of indicators of progress. So we cannot say we reached every top. We're not where we were. We cannot even be evaluated today. If you go back in the 80s, you go back in the 70s, so there will always be, inflation is always happening. Things will slide a little bit, but general economic activities improve. Because even when we talk about the rate, there are folks that benefit from the rate. You know, it's not everyone that's on the losing side of rates. Some people even want to pray for rates to go up because they earn better.
At the same time, the finance minister has issued strict warnings to former finance minister Samuel Tuwe, who wants to turn a similar campaign against him regarding the COVID-19 relief funds provided by the world. It allows the former finance minister to produce documentary evidence linking him to the alleged misappropriation of COVID-19 relief funds provided by the World Food Program. According to him, the funds were legally transferred to the government's consolidated account to support the national school feeding, adding that the funds were not diverted for personal use has been claimed by others.
25 million of the money that was gotten from the IMF is given to WFP to implement this COVID-19 food distribution program. At the end of the day, the WFP, all of them, the COVID-19 committee, credit committee, reported some money, in terms of the distribution across the country. We had, I think, 1.1 million remain, and they agreed. Listen to this. every committee that Mr. Tua was a member of agreed that the money be directed to something called the Homegrown School Feeding Program.
Is that documented?
Documented.
You have the documentation.
Yes, that committee agreed. And let me say this. I didn't come to the Ministry of Finance with this sense of being, I didn't come as with a party perspective. I came with a national perspective. So I wouldn't look at a file, something that is done by the CDC government that was appropriate and take this default position once the CDC. No, to target the food school feeding program. The money comes for food. The money, the 25 million the IMF and to the government was for food. They were not directing the money, they were using the money for food. And whom? Children of this country. Mr. Tua is part of that committee and inherited that decision. The DFP came to follow up with my predecessor, Governor Kamara, but that didn't get consummated until he left. He came to follow up. When I reviewed the decision taken by Tua and others, I think that was a good decision. Do what the CDC government proposed. They tried to create this atmosphere of thievery around Makari. I confirm the reallocation of the fund as proposed by him. Let Mr. Tua, there's a challenge. Let him come and say that he disagreed with the COVID steering committee of which he was a member.
Is Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Gaffer, they're speaking. What if you just join us with the time half past the hour on Monday? You listen to the King's News, running 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. The rest will follow in this morning. The former ruling party, the Congress for Democratic Youth, warns against police brutality. During the Solidarity and Trust for All Day, most publicized July 17th enough with enough protest. CDC National Chairman, Patrick Young, who expresses lack of confidence in the Liberian National Police, calls for immediate dismissal. Police Inspector General Gregory Como, Planning Minister Augustine Gaffer says there will be a time that things will get very difficult in Liberia due to huge economic challenges, as he acknowledges inflation. Those in the Liberian criticized Ministry of Health newly announced service fees at public health facilities across the country, described it as means of denying poor Liberians healthcare services. Away from Liberia, the United States has reported 5 people who it described as kidnapped illegal aliens through the sustained advocate of F-1. Republicans in the U.S. Senate have said that they will spare the U.S.-backed HIV/AIDS program, PEPFAR, but cost a larger effort to reduce government spending. Take another break and we'll come back to differences. On this one, now dozens of Liberians in different parts of the country have expressed strong rejection to the Ministry of Health proposed service fees at public health facilities. Recently, the Ministry of Health announced the government's proposed policy, which required payments for services at public health facilities across the country. The government's proposal, titled Community Revolving Drug Fund and Cost Sharing Scheme, requires patients, including old folks and babies, to pay fees for medical services provided at government-run health centers. Services expected to be affected by the policy are registration, hospitalization, feeding, death and birth certificates, medical tests, various screenings, among others. Liberians who expressed opposition to the new policy described it as unfair, pointing out to severe economic challenges citizens are faced with, adding that the new fees at government-run health facilities is means of denying poor Liberians healthcare services.
If they are sick and they carry that patient to the hospital, it will be 500. They're not even able to afford the first 2 couple rest. So if you not pay the 500, they'll be sending that patient back. That patient will finally die.
How many people can afford that amount to go to the hospital for services? So I strongly do believe that government has the rethink. There are too many controversial decisions government is taking that is not making any impact on the lives of the people. So we want to use this medium to caution those in the health area, the Minister of Health, to see reason that
You say the government need to be serious
The Minister of Health needs to know the economic and need to know the problem of our people. You have people who live in below $1 a day, and then you're asking them to pay $500 to sleep in a government hospital. It means you want to end the level of people very short. It makes no sense to say $500 to sleep in a government hospital. Now, if they want fees to be attached, it should be fees for medication only, not for.
Yeah, seriously, for me, I don't see it to be important right now because this is not the time. Let me say this: Liberia is a country that we are struggling. Like you said, people depending on 50 LD for survivability per day. So for me, I don't think this is the time that the government should be putting any kind of policy into place because you have a country that 95% of the populations are not working. Then you put in the kind of policies into place, meaning you also want to damage the hope of the people. What happened to the old man where is Zamatan, Balakba, all the places that will get sick from that place on a critical condition? Who don't even have food. So there are a lot of places that they don't even have money to even live on a good shelter. Let's be honest. But that person will not want to come here because why? The person don't want shame. Our people, we know them. They don't like shame.
They're not a rescue mission now. They to kill our people then because if you bring no policy or it will be bad or because you look at some people and they not get bad to eat a hard to cry every day money and say so much pay for services. We'll tell the public let's take that one from a hard.
To get back to the government is not a crime, it's not anything. But the money I listen to all the places, the hospital listed in the West. The money is too much. And that makes. But I'm look at the dress that they was 500 for others. Why they put it to 1,005? This country no drop is in this country to get right now. It's not very serious.
Some Liberians expressing opposition to the new Ministry of Health proposed service fees at public health facilities. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has announced plans to construct 8 agricultural mechanization centers across the country as part of efforts to boost the agricultural sector. The mechanization center focuses on providing farmers with access to machinery and related services to improve agricultural productivity. Making the disclosure in Tottenberg, Broom County during the celebration of the International Cooperative Day, Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture, David Akwe, said there are 5 counties that have been selected to initially benefit the construction of the mechanization centers. He named Lofa, Nimba, Bon, Maigiri, and Mosurada counties as selected counties. Minister Akwe explained that each center will be equipped with various types of agricultural machinery, including tractors and other insecticides farming implements, adding that the tools are intended to ease the workload of local farmers and improve productivity.
Either the end of this month or the beginning of next month, the government will be bringing agricultural machines. Heard that. So the government is going to be building 8 mechanization centers, 2 in Lofa County, 2 in Nimba, 2 in Bon County, 1 in Magibi, 1 in Mosurado. These hubs will be having different kinds of machines, starting with tractors that will be helping to plow the land that you have, going to these going to harvester, going to all the little machines that we can think about to make farming work easier, right? So if we have these kind of machines and we put 2 people into groups that cooperate and we identify maybe 50 hectares of land or 125 acres of land, we identify them. Then we take these machines, we go on your farm, we lay out your farm, we give you the inputs, you plant. Don't you think we will be able to actually generate more than when we do it individually? Don't you think so? So this is why we are joining the CDA today, to say we will continue to get this message to all of our farmers, all of our farming group, to say it is better that we work in group than to work as individual farmers. If you're doing your little farm behind your house or whatsoever, it's good to be a part of a group.
He is Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture, David Akwe, speaking. The National Women's League of the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change has officially endorsed the much publicized July 17 Enough is Enough protest. According to the CDC Women's League, the endorsement aims to draw the government's attention to pressing national issues, including allegations of bad governance, police brutality, and the misuse of public resources. Reading the deportation statement on Wednesday in Montreal County District 16, the acting chairperson of the CDC Women's League, Sarah Musul Soji, described the upcoming protest as an opportunity to restore hope and democratic values in Liberia. Soji accused the administration of President Joseph Walker of engaging in dictatorial practices, worsening the economic crisis, fostering insecurity, and systematically violating the Liberian Constitution.
We gather in our numbers to demonstrate the strength of the Revolutionary National Women League commitment to continue to advocate for the well-being of women and children in our country. Since the Walker-led administration took office, the National Women League of the Congress for Democratic Change has observed the percent the escalating economic crisis, increase in insecurity, and sustained abuse of constitutional order under the leadership of President Walker and his son. The Walker administration has preserved our work with the only described as the tactical breakdown of economic stability. In democratic government, Liberia economy is free fall, marked by soaring inflation, food insecurity, unemployment, and wage overtime that affect women and children. The ordinary Nigerians can no longer afford to employ a better view, access to essential healthcare, and send their children to school. At the same time, the administration continues to engage in reckless spending and political patronage. On this day, on Thursday, July 17, the people of Nigeria will decide whether we are complacent with the level of economic hardship, police brutality, sexual violence that we have today. We will stand up tomorrow in our number to show that we are tired, to show that we are fed up, to show that our voices must be heard whether the black or not. Support the people protest to call the on the government to address the current economic hardship of our people, leading them to the abuse of power. Take decision action against wrong and get the money of the reputation to restore professionalism and accountability in the Nigerian National Police. And now, President Walker does not act. We will act as winning of the society. We will ensure that President Walker is our lead.
She is the acting chairperson of the CDC Women's League, Sarah Musu Soji, there speaking. At the same time, the political analyst and general manager of King's FM Attorney at Law, Ibrahim Gassant, William has formally endorsed the July 17 protest organized by the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day. In a statement posted on his official Facebook page, the top Liberian journalist described a protest as a genuine expression of public frustration over national issues. According to him, contrary to the 2019 June 7 protest, which he said was politically motivated and led by politicians, the upcoming protest is being organized by ordinary Liberians and civil society organizations seeking reform in Liberia's governance and economic systems. William Follow clarified that the protest is not intended to promote any individual or group of political permanence, but rather to hold the government accountable for its promises to the Liberian people, and further stated that the protest purpose is to compel the government to address long-standing concerns, including poverty, unemployment, corruption, and the lack of basic social services. The group under the banner Liberia Independent Elders Council of Peace and Reconciliation has called on the organizers and will-be participants of the planned July 17 protest to uphold the principles of democracy by balancing their right to free expression with a sense of national responsibility. Speaking to journalists on Tuesday in Painesville, the Council Secretary General Edwin Gbagbo acknowledged the constitutional right of every citizen to protest, but urged the demonstrators to ensure that their actions do not infringe on the rights and freedoms of others.
Fellow Liberians, as the Independent Elders Council for Peace and Reconciliation, we recognize and uphold the constitutional right of all citizens to peacefully assemble and express their views, as enshrined in Article 17 of our Constitution. The planned protest on July 17 is a legitimate exercise of this democratic right, and we encourage all participants to do so peacefully, lawfully, and with respect to the rights of others. At the same time, we remind our fellow citizens that Liberia's peace and stability depend on mutual respect and tolerance. While protesters have the right to demonstrate, other citizens also have the right to free movement and the freedom to go around their daily life without obstruction or intimidation. Urge protestees to ensure that actions do not infringe on these rights as true democracy silences expression without responsibility. To the Liberian National Police, we call on you to protect all citizens, both those exercising the right to protest and those choosing not to participate. The role of guardians of peace is critical. We trust that you will act with professionalism, restraint, and fairness to prevent violence or escalation. Likewise, we urge protesters to cooperate with the police, recognizing that the presence is meant to ensure safety for all. Any form of aggression undermines the legitimacy of peaceful demonstrations and breaks the harmony we have worked at so long to rebuild.
Edwin Bogbot is the Secretary General of the Liberia Independent Elders Council of Peace and Reconciliation. And away from Liberia, the U.S. has deported 5 people who it described as criminal illegal aliens to the Southern African Kingdom of Eswatini. On board the flight were 5 deportees from Vietnam, Jamaica, Laos, Cuba, and Yemen who have been convicted of crimes ranging from child rape to murder. U.S. Homeland Security Department Assistant Secretary Tracy Malolin said in an online post. The flight took individuals so uniquely barbaric that their home countries refused to take them back, Malodin wrote on X. Eswatini, the last absolute monarchy in Africa, said he acknowledged widespread concern within the country regarding the deportations. Republicans in the U.S. Senate have said they will spare the U.S.-backed HIV/AIDS program PEPFAR from cuts amid a larger effort to reduce government spending. Senators said they will end a plan to cut $400 million from the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief program, leaving total proposed costs at $9 billion. The proposition was made in the Senate amendment to a recession package, meaning a bill that allows lawmakers to cancel previous funding approved by the Congress. The planned cancellations also include funds for international aid and public broadcasting. On that note, I would like to go home this morning on this edition of King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we've been following. The former ruling party, the Congress for Democratic Change, warns against police brutality during the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day much publicized. July 17, enough is enough protest. CDC National Chairman Anthony Janga Cole expresses lack of confidence in the Liberian National Police, calls for immediate dismissal of Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gaffon says there will be a time that things will get very difficult in Liberia due to huge economic challenges, as he acknowledges inflation. Dozens of Liberians criticized the Ministry of Health newly announced service fees at public health facilities across the country, described it as a means of denying poor Liberians health care services. Away from Liberia, the United States has deported 5 people who it described as criminal illegal aliens to the Southern African Kingdom of Eswatini. Republicans in the U.S. Senate have said they will spare the U.S.-backed HIV/AIDS program PEPFAR from cuts amid a larger effort to reduce government spending. Sam Andrews was here with the news bulletin. Join us later on this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we will be on for another splendid edition of the program. My name is Newton Toba. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package of sources. Have a pleasant good morning. Bye-bye.